Is Harry and Meghan's desperation to be seen as statespeople basically going to be disastrous in the political kiss of death for anyone who follows them? Yeah, so yes, when it comes to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's tour of Colombia, the fallout has been pretty disastrous, especially for the vice president. She is going to be reeling from this visit and the waste of resources for years. She probably spent upwards of $2 million of the taxpayers' money on protecting Harry and Meghan and perhaps even transporting them around as well. And she only got in return probably about $10 to $20,000 in donations from the Archwell Foundation, just giving a low estimate there. And numerous headlines that are not going to increase tourism as she claims. Harry and Meghan are really the kiss of death for any government who invites them in because they offer nothing. They can't offer diplomatic ties, trade deals, infrastructure, big donations like hundreds of $1 millions. They're not Bill Gates. They're not Elon Musk. And so Harry and Meghan here are in a tough spot because they're going to look increasingly bad to anybody looking to invite them in. And Harry and Meghan desperately need that because they are so desperate to be seen as statespeople, as influential, as important, that they'll do anything. They'll grift off anything to make that happen. And unfortunately, I think it's going to end disastrously for everyone involved. And I think the palace needs to take seriously what Harry and Meghan are doing. So we are going to talk about the fallout of the visit to Colombia today because I was thinking I was done with all my Colombia videos, but man, Harry and Meghan visiting Colombia and giving the people a drum set, helping with some sort of center thing and offering support for a program at a school. Yes, that was a good use of $2 million. Yes. Oh, yes. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network before, hello, my name is Brittany. I provide you all compelling royal commentaries. If you'd like to hear the latest about royals around Europe, feel free to hit that subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you back. We will also be doing some stories about the Norwegian royals this week because we got a lot to talk about there. And as soon as I wrap all this Harry and Meghan stuff, we will go in there because there is a royal wedding this week that'll probably be one of the cringiest ever. You thought Harry and Meghan's wedding was bad? Oh, no, you haven't seen Princess Martha Louise and her shaman fiance. Yeah, the cringe level is so incredibly high. But let's get into this story because I actually originally recorded an entirely different video on this topic. And then I was like, you know what? There was more that came out. We learned about Harry and Meghan's donations. I also discovered that there is actually a video Harry and Meghan produced that like literally says nothing. Nothing does nothing is nothing. And I have to say, I was pretty shocked the lack of depth to anything for this tour. And for the poor Colombian vice president who thought this was a marvelous idea, it makes me question a lot of things about her judgment and will make her people question her judgment too, because this was a huge error in judgment. Inviting Harry and Meghan is basically the political kiss of death. They are just a resource suck that add nothing. So let's go into her initial reasonings why she invited Harry and Meghan to the country. Because when she said this, because of course she had to gather this big press conference because the people of Colombia, the rest of the world is like, why are they here? Like they have no connection to Colombia. What can they offer besides an opportunity for Meghan to attempt to prove that she actually really did speak Spanish, even though we all know she doesn't really speak Spanish. And she gave the reasoning that I was like, why, oh, why did you admit this? Because this is a terrible thing. She just basically gave her political opponents absolute ammunition to destroy her. So here's what she said. How did I get to know Meghan and Harry? I first encountered them through the media, and I particularly watched the Netflix series about their lives and their story, which deeply moved me. Marquez said. So the vice president continued, it motivated me to say this is a woman who deserves to visit our country and share her story. Yes, because a woman who married a prince, lived in a palace, complained that it wasn't good enough for her, abandoned her family, had her husband abandon his family, abandon his job, move halfway across the world so she could finally make it in Hollywood. That's what the people of your country need to hear. A woman who was raised within the, let's say, upper middle class of Hollywood and went to private schools, had private lessons, had all the resources in the world. She can help the underserved and underprivileged in Colombia. Yeah. Okay. And she went on to say, and undoubtedly her visit will strengthen so many women around the world. I hate this idea sometimes that just because a woman says she's a feminist and just because she says that she stands up for women, that as womankind, we all just need to follow her. And I'm like, why? What is she hasn't done anything for me. I think, in fact, Meghan Markle has made Americans look terrible to the international stage. She makes us look greedy, manipulative, deceitful, toxic, bullying, which were allegations, I have to say, wanting to separate people from their families, divisive, like so many different things. Meghan Markle, her entire image and perception is negative. How am I as a woman? Why do I need to support Meghan Markle as a woman? Why? Why? Just because she's a woman and claims that she stands for women? Like, that's just dumb. That's just dumb. I hate that logic. It's illogical. It's terrible. And this played terribly for the vice president. Why? Because Harry and Meghan don't offer any of those things. And Meghan didn't uplift the women of Colombia. Why? She never let them speak. What aggravated me about this tour, more than just about anything, again, you have to go with obviously the blatant disregard for what the parameters were set out for them, how they are so apparently inept and talentless. All they can do is cosplay the actual royals because apparently they have nothing better to do in their lives, like get an actual job, because this stuff doesn't really pay. Although I think they try to make this tour pay for sure. But they barred the media from covering any events. The media was basically blackballed from the entire thing. Nobody could go and talk to anyone. In fact, the BBC had to say basically at some point, we can't cover this because we can't independently verify anything that's going on because Harry and Meghan and basically the Colombian government is blocking the media from doing their job. Because what happens on royal tours is that the royals, yes, go and meet with someone. Sometimes those meetings are private. Let's say if they're a diplomatic meeting between the prime minister or something in that particular country, like they meet publicly for a while and then privately for a while. Like we understand this. There's some things that are public and private. We get this. But Harry and Meghan's tour was essentially silent. I did not hear a word from Colombian women. Not one word from Colombian women. It was all about Meghan Markle and the vice president of Colombia's desire to fangirl Meghan Markle. That's all we heard. All we heard. I don't know any of the voices of Colombian women. How can Meghan lift up any of those voices? She didn't let them talk. They were silenced by Meghan Markle. She forbade the media for, I don't know, and I shouldn't say this, but this is just my theory, basically forbade the media to talk to anyone, to verify anything that Harry and Meghan's hand-picked, tightly controlled journalists from fashion magazine Harper's Bazaar from really doing any investigating. Getting stories from these women. What did you really think about Meghan Markle's speech? You know why they didn't do that? Because they know a lot of those women would go, well, it was nice, but didn't really have any connection to me. Why? Because again, everything was about Meghan. Meghan doesn't care about other women. Meghan cares about Meghan and some of her friends. That's who she cares about. Because if she really cared, it would be more about uplifting the voices of the women she met, not her own. Not her own. But that's all she cared about was her own voice. It was an echo chamber of Meghan Markle. That's what it was. And the Colombian vice president went along with it, even though she told the taxpayers, hey, you were paying for this, but you're getting something out of it. Why? Because of the brilliance of Meghan Markle. The brilliance. You get to hear the wondrous ramblings of the word salad that is Meghan Markle. And so isn't that going to help you when you're dealing with like cartels and violence within your community? That's going to help you, right? Right? No, no. So the Colombian vice president tried a different tactic because obviously this other tactic didn't work. So after the fallout and things were getting worse, she changed her tactic to say Harry and Meghan's tour will encourage tourism. Yeah, so yes, this is from the Telegraph. And it says in the statement released by Francia Marquez, who's the vice president, I always forget her name, so I just call her the Colombian vice president. I'm sorry. It says that the couple's presence had helped demonstrate that Colombia was an attractive tourism destination. Yeah. The message is overwhelming. It says, we will continue working to establish Colombia on the international stage as a reference point of creativity, cultural diversity, and above all, as a country that knows how to rebuild from differences and is ready to receive millions more visitors. Now, the Telegraph goes on to say Harry and Meghan could have been used as political pawns in Francia's I guess, attempt to show the people that she's trying to help uplift the country. I don't know why, because obviously the political attack ads against her write themselves. This woman wasted $2 million of the taxpayers' money to show for a wealthy, incredibly privileged couple around the country who only let themselves speak and forbade anybody else from speaking generally. Like, we didn't really get any quotes from like the Colombian vice president. Not really, except for the ones she released, because again, so I don't think this is much political tools, but stick with me here because she claims that this is going to help people want to visit Colombia. But I argue that's not the case. Why? Because of this. Now, I don't know about you, but when I go to foreign countries, and I have actually been to dangerous countries, and although there are security presences around some of the places where I stayed, there was not a gentleman walking around with a bullet shield protecting me. No, I didn't get that. Will you get that in Colombia? No. All these people around here are a combination of Harry and Meghan's staff and security. We'll see more of this, but I just want to point this out. They're getting a bullet shield. How are we, as Joe Public, supposed to go, oh, yeah, you know what? I want to go to Colombia because, it looks so safe, right? It looks so safe. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah, no. No. That's just almost basically you could call it a fool's errand. And there are more pictures here. We got more pictures of guys on tanks with big machine guns. We got so many more pictures of them surrounded by security as they're walking around. And I will guarantee you right now, you as Joe Public will not get this. So how in the world is this supposed to encourage you to visit the country as a tourist? If you're looking at Harry and Meghan, and they are not special in a way. Yes, they are celebrities. Yes, they have tenuous connections to a royal family, but they are not diplomats. That is a basically statesman level of security around them. I don't even know if Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, got that much security when she was there a couple months ago. I don't even know if the Queen of Spain gets that much security. It's so over the top, but it's not there, I don't think, for necessarily rational reasons. Because if it was rational, Meghan would leave her $15,000 necklace at home and her $26,000 bracelet at home. It's there because Harry and Meghan are just desperate to see themselves as these statesmen, as these movers and influential people. And so they have demands for this security. And some people are foolish enough to go along with it. And they could not look more disconnected from the public, from the people who they are attempting to serve, the people who they are attempting to uplift. Because that's what's so annoying. Harry and Meghan are saying they're doing this for the people of Colombia. But are they really? Or is it really just for themselves? And since Labor Day is coming up, I just wanted to give a little shout out here real quick to Ana Lucia Diamonds, who I have a relationship with. I'm so excited because there is a sale going on right now. One of them is for my 7-stone Eternity band. So if you're interested in this, I absolutely am in love with it. So it's already $100 off. And if you use code ROYAL20, you shall save an additional 20%. And this gorgeous little butterfly necklace in gold is also on sale. And so you can save again. That may put a little sparkle in your life and won't cost a mint like Meghan Markle's extensive and trinket-like jewelry collection. Because this is gorgeous. Some of Meghan's pieces, they're not, but they cost a mint. That's for sure. So Harry and Meghan, obviously, huge waste of taxpayer money here. And as the week went on, so we got this sort of justification. Oh, they're helping tourism. They're helping tourism, don't you know? And then we got something else that's even like, I want to say it even worse in some ways. Because I'm like, dude, yeah, no. I'm sorry, I don't quite believe this. And I actually might have some evidence that proves that this is wrong. So this is from Sky News Australia, and it says, amid the criticism of the tourist cost, Spanish newspaper El País confirmed with Colombian authorities that the Sussexes covered their own travel expenses. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex financed their trip and that of their team with their own resources, a Colombian spokesperson said. The spokesperson did not comment on whether financing, including reimbursing the Colombia's armed forces, but the newspaper clarified that some of the costs came from international agencies. Oh gosh, does that mean the United States covered some of their security? That would be really, really obnoxious. Probably some of it came from the Invictus Games because they did have an expense there, but this is a resource suck. Harry and Meghan are a resource suck. They just suck money and gain nothing back. The Invictus Games, I think, is failing. And I know because we've seen them. They are begging for donations. Why? Because nobody's attending the games. Nobody's spending any money on the games. They're desperate for money because they don't have anything coming in. They're desperate for volunteers because Harry and Meghan are so toxic. Nobody wants to support it and volunteer. Like, they're just a waste. They just so waste resources. And I did have to pull this out because I happened to see this. And I think it's actually pretty cool that I caught this because I don't think everybody did. But this is a picture from their photographer. And so he is on a Colombian military aircraft getting chauffeured around during Harry and Meghan's tour. Yes, this is Eric. I can't remember his last name, starts with a C. But yes, this is him. I looked up his Instagram. And so this is him being escorted around military aircraft. And you see special invitation, Eric Charbonnet, and his senor, the president of the Republic of Colombia. So yeah, they were escorted around by military 150%. And I'm sorry, but I don't believe Harry and Meghan covered all these costs themselves. Why? Because they're cheap. The two of them are cheap. That's why they want everybody else to pay for their security. That's why Harry's doing this whole court case with the UK over security. It's not just because, oh, I need to keep my family safe. No, it's because the security bills are large. And as it turns out, we can't make any money because as it turns out, we don't really have any talent in the industry we're trying to create a career in. And we keep trying to, what Harry and Meghan do, which is so annoying, is they just want to create something and go, we're royal. You're going to watch it, right? I'm like, no, that's not how the real world works. Like maybe in your fantasy delusions, maybe that's how the real world works. But in the real world, you actually have to have talent. You actually have to do something that people are interested in. And the only thing that people are interested in, because Harry and Meghan have created this, is them ragging on the royal family. That's the only thing that has made them money. Everything else has not. Why? Because there's just no money to make. There's no money to make because they seem to not have any talent to do anything. It wouldn't be that hard. Like they can't even do Meet Me at the Lake. Apparently, somebody was telling me on Facebook, and I apologize, I forget your name, was telling me that Amazon had announced that they were making the sequel to Meet Me at the Lake. So what happens with Harry and Meghan? And they've already got like a director lined up, like so many things lined up. Meet Me at the Lake with Harry and Meghan. It's languishing because they can't do two things at the same time, apparently. Because Meghan Markle can't make a podcast and a TV show that's probably only 8 episodes that's just cooking at the same time. I run 2 channels at the same time, not always successfully, but I run 2 things at the same time. I think a lot of people have to do 2 things at once, but apparently that is too hard for Meghan Markle. But of course, Harry and Meghan, they got to tell us how the trip to Colombia went. And I would love to show you the video actually, because I like, guys, what I like doing, and I know not everybody likes it, but I like showing what we're looking at and having people evaluate for themselves. But there's probably copyrighted music on here. And honestly, guys, there's no button. There's no button for this video. You press it and play it, and that's it. And what they did is they showed a lot of video of some of the dancing and some of the kids, but substance, no. And none of this is substance either. It says, we are deeply moved by the progress and passion demonstrated in Colombia as we continue through Archwell Foundation to advance. And I love how they capitalized Archwell. It's like, guys, nobody cares. This thing only has $10 million. You know, most foundations doing what they're trying to do have hundreds, if not billions of dollars. To advance our mission to create positive change around the world. The Afro Descent Women in Power, a Voice of Equity panel featuring Meghan was a powerful platform for highlighting the remarkable work of the Parents Network and the Welcome Project. No, it wasn't, because we don't know any of that, because you didn't give us any of it. And also, too, when it comes to the tourist thing, and I forgot to add this because I put this in my original video and then we changed things up. But since we didn't see any of the tourist destinations really on Harry and Meghan's tour because no media was allowed to go with them, I know nothing about what is actually even tourable in Colombia, what cultural centers. I mean, even the cultural dance they were given was made up. So how in the world is an outside person supposed to go, oh yeah, you know what? I'm going to follow Harry and Meghan and go to Colombia. Again, this is Dutch them. And again, this I find highly annoying because it lacks every piece of a context, information. It's so blasé, it's so vague, and that's what they thrive on. They thrive on this vagueness. So let's keep going. By shining a spotlight on these organizations, no, they did not. You did not. We aim to amplify their efforts in its supporting marginalized communities and fostering inclusivity. Okay, the people in Colombia are more worried probably about violence, economic insecurity than they are in the Parents Network and the Welcome Project. Yeah, and I don't even know what the Welcome Project is because you guys are so crap at communication. Our visit with young people in Cali further reinforced our commitment, again, because it's all about them, not about the community, about them. Our commitment to empowering vulnerable youth through the transformative power of arts and dance. We witnessed firsthand how creative expression can aid in healing and help young people forge brighter futures. The joy and resilience of these students were truly inspiring. We don't know that. The energizing drum circle and the Esculenda Tabornes. Okay, I won't even try. In Cartagena continued our focus on youth empowerment. How? I don't know. This engaging activity provided an opportunity for participants to connect, to express themselves. I want to show R again and build our confidence and reinforcing the vital role of community and creativity. We are proud to support this work to ensure that the cultural tradition of this community are preserved and celebrated. Well, we don't know any of that. Additionally, our Insight Session and Responsible Technology Summit brought together thought leaders and innovators to explore the intersection of technology and social impact. These discussions are crucial as we work towards harnessing technology responsibly to benefit communities and drive positive change. We don't know that because we didn't get anything from those events except for little snippets. As always, our foundation's mission is to show up and do good no matter where we are in the world and do nothing. You guys do nothing. You say nothing. It's so aggravating. I've been a journalist. I've done stories. I've talked to people all over the world in tragic and terrible circumstances. And do you know what actually moves the needle? Is hearing those stories. I don't give a crap what Harry and Meghan did. I don't give a crap. I want to hear from the people. But Harry and Meghan, they do the same thing with Invictus. We don't hear any of the Invictus stories. It's all about Harry. And this is a massive problem for them because this shows that it's all about them. They can't help anybody. They're too obsessed with helping themselves. And it's reflected in their minute, minuscule, bare bones basic contributions. Now, I will say, most of the time, royals don't sometimes make a direct contribution to the community they're visiting. Now, Catherine and William, I think, tried to do larger impact days. I don't know where those are because of obviously Catherine's illness and everything, that they were going to raise a lot of money and go visit a community that they don't normally visit and give this money that they've raised to the community, which I think is fantastic. But here, Catherine and William don't do that because when they go on an official royal tour, again, the power of the British government goes with them. So aid might come from British aid agencies that have developed ties via Catherine and William. Support might come from government sources, and trade might come. And perhaps somebody watching and seeing this local community is inspired and going, yeah, I want to help this local community get their wares to the UK better or something like that. Those things can happen. So there's a ripple effect when royals visit. There will be no ripple effect here. It's just like a rock sinking to the bottom that makes it's no waves or whatever. I don't know how to exactly describe it. But anyways, there will be nothing here because Harry and Meghan don't offer anything because they have nothing to offer. They just don't because it is all about them. And when you're so obsessed with self, you can't help anybody else. They just fundamentally cannot help anybody else. In alignment with this, the Archibald Foundation is excited to announce 3 significant contributions to the region. So what are these 3 significant contributions, guys? We will be providing new drumming sets to this school. So let's see, what does a drum set cost? Well, it could be as little as a couple $100 to over $1,000. There's one on Amazon that's $200. What do you want to bet Harry and Meghan are giving them that one? Probably. And again, this is vague. We have no clue what this drumming set is. It could be one that's cost $2,500 or one that costs $250. Those are massive differences in prices. And so you could give new drumming sets. You could give 3 of them. If the drum sets cost $250 and you gave 3 of them, that's only $750. If they're each cost $1,000, that's only $3,000. That's not a lot of money. Supporting a secure environment for local children to explore, learn, and connect in San Beliso de la Planiquet? I don't know. Sorry, I'm terrible at even pronouncing sometimes English words, so I'm so sorry. But this is vague. What is this? This could be nothing, it could be everything. It's not it's not saying anything. Notice, it's so incredibly vague. I couldn't even price that out because it's so vague. I don't know what this is. And then it says expanding the socio-emotional gym program at this school. Again, incredibly vague. We saw a bit of that video, but we got no additional context. So we don't even know what they could add. They might just be saying, "Oh, we'll give you resources. Like, we'll give you a couple of printouts." I mean, the donation could be as little as 5,000 or under here. Like, seriously, this is nothing. And the Colombian taxpayers paid maybe upwards of $2 million protecting them. $2 million that they won't get back. Why? Because Harry and Meghan really can't pay that. Harry and Meghan, yes, they got a windfall from Harry's book, but they are rapidly burning through cash. They have to be. The Netflix deal, from every reported source I can see, it says no, it's not going forwards. Every available source that I've seen and every instinct I have in the industry, even though I'm not in the entertainment industry, but I watch a lot of the spaces, it's not going to be renewed. It's not financially viable. You have an industry that's contracting, an industry that's collapsing in some ways. Hollywood is so over marginalized and so overwrought that they really can't be seen just wasting endless money on Harry and Meghan that offer nothing. I mean, it is getting to the point where, yes, they were able to dump millions upon millions of dollars into various shows at some point to do whatever because there was such an influx of cash. But now all that cash is going away, and Hollywood has to determine what things they're going to give resources to and what things they are not. And Harry and Meghan, like, what can they give to Netflix? They had one hit, and that was it. And then it goes on to say here, each of these initiatives underscores our commitment to making a difference in supporting programs that uplift and empower individuals and communities. Thank you, everyone, for your dedication and passion. Together, we are making strides toward a more equitable and compassionate world. Equitable, which means equal outcome despite the opportunity. So, Meghan Markle, are you going to make every kid that you interacted with there become a duchess in the future? Because that statement is stupid. It is. You can't be equitable because if it was, you would drop your title. You are a hypocrite in that way. You are either equitable and you believe that titles should not exist, royal titles should not exist, that you are like every other celebrity in Hollywood, or you believe you are royalty. You can't have it both ways. You can't advocate for equity and then go and call yourself constantly the Duchess of Sussex. That you can't do that. It's hypocrisy. It's just absolute, complete and utter hypocrisy. And it dilutes their message, damages their message. But of course, I believe they don't really care about their message. So let me see here real quick. How many times did we use "our"? We used "our" 9 times. Each of us can change our communities and all of us can change the world. And so we have our mission, our visit, our commitment, our focus, our insight, our foundation's mission, our commitment. And oh, I guess technically only 8. And then let's look at we. We, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again, 8. I point this all out to say this is all about Harry and Meghan. Me, I. Obviously, in this case, we are. It's ours. It's us. It's us against the world. And Harry and Meghan were invited into Colombia, and I believe they wasted the Colombian people's time. I 100% do. I believe they wasted the vice president's time because they don't offer anything. They offer nothing. So how can they grift in the future here? Well, Harry's going to attempt to when he goes to New York in September, and he's going to attempt to grift. He's going to go to like the UN. Let's look at the report here real quick. Maybe I'll do a longer video on this later, but let's look at just the bare bones basic here real quick. So here it is. It says he's going to be there for the UN General Assembly High-Level Week and Climate Week, which kicks off on September 22nd, released for Climate Week, and runs until September 29th. He will be there to advance a number of his patronages and philanthropic initiatives. He'll participate in engagements with African Parks, the Halo Trust, the Diana Award, and Travelist. Harry will also be furthering the work of the Archwell Foundation, a nonprofit he co-founded with Meghan. And yeah, they want to be treated as statespeople, but it's pathetic because they can't offer anything. So they're going to go and grift and beg and plead for people to invite them into their country so that they can have a vacation and feel important as Harry's brother. The reality is, though, he's not as important as his brother. As an individual human being created in the image of God, yes, he is. But in the world of royalty, he's not. It's like me going to the UN and attempting to get people to support me. That's silly. That's absolutely silly. I'm not deluded. But here he is. And yes, he has a platform. But the thing is, what's so interesting is that because of the advent of social media and YouTube and all these sorts of things, so many people have a platform. I would imagine even Harry would be surprised how many people on YouTube have greater influence sometimes than he does. Why? Because part of it is they're authentic, and part of it is they're not trying to grit. They're not trying to, let's say, step outside the bounds of what is reality for them. Harry's reality is beyond people who are willing to use them as political pawns, and that Harry and Meghan are willing to be used as political pawns. Nobody of any notability is going to invite them into their country. They're not going to be invited to France for essentially a state visit because France isn't stupid. They're like, we can invite the actual King of England. We had the actual King of England here. It was a massive, rip-roaring success. We had this massive state dinner. We had this massive meeting of minds and this growing and developing of a relationship that will continue on into the future because he's the King of England. Well, Harry and Meghan can't offer any of that. Archwell Foundation, what, the thing that has like maybe 10 to $13 million in the bank? Now, to most people, that might seem like a lot. But when it comes to the nonprofit world, that's like drop in the bucket, nothing. That is nothing. Other organizations run with budgets within the hundreds of millions of dollars. And they're able to give out hundreds of millions of dollars or able to facilitate grants and give out grants worth hundreds of millions of dollars or get grants from the government via USAID and different things. Or you have something like the Gates Foundation, which doesn't even need to get a penny from anyone because the Gates are that loaded. They can blow billions into that thing. Harry and Meghan have none of those resources. So it's like it's so dumb in some ways. That's like the only way I can describe it, really. Delusional, pathetic, because they are just so desperate to try to create something that just simply doesn't exist. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to have an impact and have an influence. But Harry and Meghan need to start with a basis of reality, not fantasy. They need to deal with reality here, which is that they are just merely celebrities. They've given up the trappings of royalty. They're only called maybe the Duke and Duchess of Sussex by people who actually, let's say, care enough to call them that. Most people just call them Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, like I do. Why? Because they don't have respect. That's the thing, too. They don't have respect. They don't have influence. And they have failed to do the one thing they needed to do to be treated seriously. And that's actually make a career. When you are simply trying to imitate people who can do it better and more efficiently when it comes to their cosplay royal tours, why should people pay attention to you? Why should people pay attention to you? You can't offer what Catherine and William can offer when they visit. Not even close. Not even close. And so Harry and Meghan need to have a reality check here. And they also need to realize that, yes, because of their desperation, people will seek them out, but it's not good people. And they won't be used for good reasons. They'll be used for bad reasons because Harry and Meghan have left themselves vulnerable. They have left themselves vulnerable to people who are more than willing to utilize them to further their own aims. And Harry and Meghan are more than willing to be used to further their own aims, whatever they happen to be. And that's probably at the center of it, mostly just trying to compete with the royals. They left the royal family, yet they are so desperate to be royal again. And they could do that, but they would have to bend the knee. Fess up to the damage that they've caused. Fess up to the absolute disasters that they've made of their lives and others and accept the responsibility for their failures. Until they do that, I don't think anybody in the family will take them seriously. But I don't think many people on the world stage really take them seriously either. So Harry and Meghan got to figure out what the future holds. And it's not in trying to be fake statespeople. If they want to do that, then they need to create a billion-dollar business like Elon Musk, Bill Gates, somewhere around in there. But until then, mostly they'll just be seen as an international joke and the political kiss of death to anybody attempting to invite them to their country. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. And I shall see you guys oh so soon. Bye.